So I'm Amanda Divito Parle, and this is my podcast, At the Kitchen Table. We guide, inspire, and connect entrepreneurs. And so I'd like to welcome my guest today, Leah Martin. And Leah runs a company called A Brighter Community,
That's
ABC.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so welcome, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Glad to be here.
Tell me, what is ABC? And then I'll have you back up and tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came into that place in your life and that role from a very different career.
Right.
So go ahead and just tell me about yourself.
A Brighter Community is a day program for adults who have developmental disabilities. And so we serve people that we refer to as our friends, actually. We don't call them our clients. We call them our friends.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah. What we want to do with our friends is provide them a meaningful life. And so we do that one day at a time. One meaningful day at a time.
Wow.
So we take them in the community. We let them enjoy their lives just like you or I would want to, and make sure they're safe and happy, and also very loved. So we focus on high quality services, and I guess that's why Robin, my business partner, and I started this day program. There are other day programs out there, but the difference is that, well, there's a different feeling at ABC than at most other day programs, and I guess the difference is the quality of services.
You didn't start in any kind of business ownership. You started working, you were an engineer or something, right?
I was in satellite imagery and remote sensing, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was a very different path where I started out. My bachelor's degree is in cartography, mapping.
Which is mapping, okay.
Yeah. And so I started college in '88, and that was right at the infancy of computerized mapping. So I had learned how to make a map on Mylar and everything back in a darkroom, but at the same time, computer mapping was coming about. So my master's degree was in geography, emphasizing remote sensing and GIS, geographic information systems.
Wow.
So
very ahead of its time at the time.
Yeah, right at the beginning, I would say. So I worked 23 years in that career. I worked at Digital Globe in Longmont and in Westminster, mostly in satellite imagery. So in quality, in product verification, program management, et cetera. So it was intellectually challenging. It was great. I loved my career. But when I started the day program with Robin, I kept working part-time at ABC, full-time in my career in satellite imagery, until I started noticing that job was getting in my way. I really wanted to do a brighter community, so I worked probably 5 or 6 years before, doing both jobs before I moved full-time to ABC.
And the 23 years in the mapping industry was probably fascinating. I imagine that industry completely revolutionized in the years that you were
absolutely. In fact, Digital Globe was, now it's Maxar. It's purchased by Maxar, but they are the largest provider of commercial imagery to companies like Apple. The maps that you hold in your hand, and you find, get directions. The satellite backdrop is from Digital Globe, Maxar. So yeah, absolutely revolutionary. It's incredible to see what you can do with imagery pixels that you can see from space.
So how did you come to meet Robin Sattel, your business partner and past client and friend of mine? How did you come to meet her, and how did she influence you in the way that you ended up deciding to build ABC?
Great question. I had a neighbor and friend who found out that her baby would be born with Down syndrome. So when she got that news, I wanted to help. I contacted the Mile High Down Syndrome Association, and Robin was the new parent coordinator there. And so that's when introductions were made. I got involved. I fell in love with that little baby with Down syndrome. And so I got involved in fundraising and I guess just various activities in the Down syndrome community.
Yep.
And so that's when Robin and I met. It was a few years later that she wanted to start a day program for her son, Tommy, who has Down syndrome.
Yep.
and a better program than ones that he had already been in.
Yeah, she had been down those paths.
Yes.
She knew what existed out there.
She knew what was there.
Where the holes were in the market.
Yes, absolutely. She knew there was a need for high quality programming. And so I helped her start the day program. And although, she did the day in and day out programming while I was working my other career. And then eventually I joined her full time.
Yeah, you had kind of the business acumen.
Right.
And she had
she has the programming
institutional
side.
knowledge,
Absolutely.
the industry knowledge, right?
Yes, absolutely, right. We make a very good team that way.
Yep.
We complement each other's strengths and skills. So I handle the operational type duties, if you want to call it that, and the financial side of the business, and she makes the program what it is.
My working knowledge of the industry came from my relationship with DDRC, which is the local Developmental Disabilities Resources Center.
Right.
And I got involved with a group of moms, essentially, who were providing Christmas gifts every Christmas to DDRC. And for 10 years, we collected something like 250 Christmas gifts for their clients, their friends at DDRC, who had a variety of needs. Sometimes it was just a football brightened their day, or a sweatsuit, or a box of crayons and a coloring book.
Right.
Some people who were higher functioning needed things like toasters and coffee pots, so they could have more independent living, variety of things like this. And I originally just wanted to come along because somebody had invited me to participate in this kind of not-for-profit philanthropic thing. And then you begin to meet those who have disabilities, and they are in so many ways just lovely people.
Absolutely.
And so my service to DDRC deepened. And then, as like an act of God, which happens from time to time, somebody like you comes into my life, and our universes sort of circle these same things. And so when you and Robin were starting ABC, I had been doing the DDRC work, and I think that deepened our friendship for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm in great admiration of the work that you do, and I think it takes, a very unique person to work in this space that's one that requires deep empathy.
I think it takes a unique perspective, and that perspective being that these individuals are worthy of love just like everyone else, that they're wholly individual just like you and I are, so, Robin and I aren't some sort of special people any different than you are, but we have a perspective about our friends that they're valuable, and we want the world to know it.
Yes. So you have this day program, and your friends can come and they can work. What kind of work do you structure for them? And the obvious of why that fulfills their day is maybe clear to anybody who's ever worked, which is that it brings a tremendous sense of accomplishment and joy. But so, what kind of work are you doing for them? And then tell me about some of the little ancillary businesses you set up to support ABC. That's sort of fun. Yeah.
Well, we provide a lot of services for our friends, a lot of different services. One is just being on site, specialized habilitation. We provide a variety of activities and learning opportunities for them at our building.
Yeah, you got a basketball court. We have done the tour. You've got a
we have an
big
art
gym,
room.
the art room.
Right. We have a great facility. We really love it.
Yes.
It's perfect for what we need. But we also, as I mentioned, we take a lot of small groups out in the community and give our friends access to their own community. Whereas without our day program, perhaps they wouldn't have so many opportunities to do that. Right?
That's right.
We also do supported employment. And so we have job coaches who support some of our friends who choose to work.
Yeah.
We help them find jobs. We help them develop the skills they need to get a job, based on their interests. As an example, we have a couple of our friends who work at the fire department. We have one who works at a dentist. We have one who works at a brewery, just a variety of jobs. But you're absolutely right. We gain a lot from our jobs. It's part of our identity.
Sure.
And in the very same vein, it's the same way for our friends. They have a tremendous amount of pride, and it's part of their identity as well. So work is very important for them.
Yeah, and so to any entrepreneur listening, there are opportunities for them to have inside our businesses.
Yep.
That's very helpful to your organization, right? To the extent that business owners can reach out to an organization like yours, and that helps your friends find work.
And it also helps their company. They'd be amazed at what a difference having one of our friends work at their company would make for them.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's really eye-opening for them. At first it might seem a little daunting. I met with a dentist and he wasn't quite sure. He was a little apprehensive. What would this entail? Well, our job coach will be there the entire time if that's what's needed, right? Like you mentioned, some people are more independent than others.
Yeah.
Some of our friends might not need a job coach as often, maybe just to check in, but if they need them there the whole time, they can be there the whole time. They get paid a competitive wage, so it's a fully integrated job, and so not only does it benefit our friends, but it benefits the community.
That's right.
As well.
That's right.
In fact, ABC has hired one of our friends to work at ABC.
Yeah. You started another little business that was the
escape room.
The escape room.
Right.
That's right.
For a while, we opened an escape room, and so that we could hire some of our friends to work there. Yeah. Yeah, that was great. We just realized it wasn't, a couple of things. We needed more space. It was carved out part of our building for the escape room. And it was great while it was there. We ended up selling that to another escape room business.
Oh, great.
So that we could use the space in our building. But, sometimes you realize, we're really in the business to help our friends at our day program. And while the escape room was fun while it lasted, it was time to move on. But,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, our friends enjoyed working there as well.
You bought your building.
We did.
Yeah. Probably one of the better decisions you've made in your entrepreneurial journey.
Hands down.
Yep. What do you think has been the most surprising thing that you've learned in the transition from having a career or a job to being an entrepreneur?
Well, I think maybe one of the things that I've realized the most is what my risk tolerance is.
Yeah.
To be an entrepreneur, I've learned you have to have a high tolerance for risk.
That's right.
And some people have a very low risk tolerance, and they probably won't start a business. You have to be willing to take chances. You have to be willing to put it on the line.
Yeah.
What
were some of those examples for you along the way?
Investing my retirement fund to start a business.
Yeah.
Buying the building is a good example.
Yeah.
That was a major step. The more debt than we ever imagined we would have.
Yeah, never knew how to pay.
Right. But I guess taking that leap of faith that, we have a good business model, we have the work ethic, we're not afraid to fail, and learn along the way, because you learn a lot through failure.
Yeah, that's right.
But that probably was one of the biggest examples of that, buying the building.
Where do the funding sources for your business come from? Is that both sort of private money and public money, or how do you get paid?
Mostly, I would say 97% plus is through Medicaid waivers. So our friends who have developmental disabilities, yes, they're on Medicaid for health insurance and so forth, but they also have an additional Medicaid waiver.
Okay.
And that pays for, its federal funding, pays for additional services like residential, so that they can live in the place of their choosing. Let's say a host home, a group home, their own home. Provides supports for them to live as independently as possible.
Yep.
Also for day program, transportation, supported employment, those are all services available through Medicaid waivers.
Okay. So your company essentially accepts their Medicaid waiver for payment.
Yes.
So that your business can break even or make a profit. I don't know.
Right.
Is that run as a not-for-profit, or is it run as a...
We're what's known as a program approved service agency.
Okay.
It's essentially approval from state entities, but also to provide Medicaid services.
Okay.
And so it's a PASA. That's what they call us. Some PASAs are nonprofits. Some are for-profit. We are for-profit.
Yeah. One, just in awe of the employees that you have brought alongside you. Talk about, how do you hire and fire somebody to work in such a specific and special industry?
Yeah, it's not easy. In fact, in our country, there is literally a crisis, a turnover crisis among direct support professionals.
Yeah.
Those are the staff that work for us.
For child care, for special needs care, for elder care.
Yeah,
like across the board, it's desperate, right?
So we do everything we can to make sure that there's very low turnover at our company. I think that's something unique about our business, our company, is that there's very low turnover among our staff. Mm-hmm. And we're very deliberate about trying to make sure that they're happy there, that they don't kind of, a lot of times people, they don't look forward to going to work. Monday morning rolls
it's a grind,
long.
Right?
Yeah, it's a grind. We want our employees to look forward to it. Mm. And we invest a lot of time and effort into making sure that happens. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of our hiring is through people we know.
Sure.
Sometimes we post a job. Also, we're very particular about who we hire.
Yeah.
We don't just hire anyone. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that they're in it for as long as possible. It's disruptive to our friends if there's a lot of turnover. They take it personally if someone leaves.
Yeah, sure.
They think maybe it's them or, so we want to make sure people stay and that they love their job and that they're the right fit.
From a culture perspective, how have you figured out how to maintain good employees over a long span? Is it strictly money? What motivates the employee that would come and
Yeah, well, as you know, Medicaid rates aren't super high,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So we're not allowed to pass along any cost to, if we're providing Medicaid services, the Medicaid rate is it. Mm-hmm. We don't ask them to bring money to go out in the community and pay for museums. That's definitely on our business's shoulders.
Got it.
So, and it's not a tuition-based thing where if they're not there, we can't charge. So it's not the money that keeps the people there.
Sure.
Because we can't pay a ton of money to our DSPs because of that constraint. So, when I was doing my doctoral program, I did research on around these direct support professionals and in this industry. And I found that one of the strategies in keeping people employed and there for the long term is to help them see the difference that they're making in the lives of the people we serve. Mm. So Robin and I try to find ways to help them see the value that they're bringing to someone's life.
Well, and it's easy, even just a smile sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. The way they touch your friends' lives, just that.
Yeah.
That's a direct relationship. They build a bond even just with the friends.
Yes, 100% they do. That's what keeps them coming back is their relationships with the friends. We also have a vision and a mission and values that we are very adamant about keeping at the forefront of our employees' minds.
Yeah.
So every chance we get, it's the filter through which we pass everything, and you would ask, if you ask one of my employees what our vision is, they'll tell you. Great. They'll be able to tell you.
They can articulate it.
They can articulate
it. This is like a business 101, running a business 101.
And they really know what our values are. Mm-hmm. We have them highlight each other and how in ways in which they portray our values. Mm-hmm. There are lots of different strategies we use to make sure that they are bought in, and that's part of the reason that they stay so long.
Who were some of the people in your life that most influenced your drive? You, just in conversation, have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and
a PhD.
Yeah. And so that's not nothing. That takes real drive. Mm-hmm. Is that internal or was that external? Where did that come from? And who were those influences in your life?
Definitely my parents.
Sure.
My dad, he was a range management consultant. His job took us overseas a lot in my upbringing. Mm-hmm. We lived in the Middle East. We lived in Iran in the early 70s. We lived in Africa for 5 years of my upbringing.
Wow.
Yeah. And my mother, her parents had an evergreen business in Oregon, a wholesale evergreen business.
Trees?
Tree branches.
Okay.
So cedar boughs, salal fern, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And their customers were in the floral wholesale floral industry in LA.
Got it.
So for the most part. Anyway, my mom bought that business from my grandparents. And so when I was in the end of my high school years, I worked for her, for my parents, in that evergreen business. It's kind of interesting how the things that they trusted me to do at such a young age kind of blows my mind now. Part of my job was to drive a big box truck, 26 feet long, and drive up and down the Oregon coast purchasing cedar boughs, evergreens, from pickers. And so at 16, I would drive a big giant truck with 10 gears and not an automatic transmission either.
Like an old stick shift, yeah.
And, write checks, and it blows
in the
my
middle
mind
of the woods
right now.
with some like hill jack.
Right, yeah. And so they trusted me. They trusted me with a lot of responsibility.
Sure.
And seeing them, so to answer your question, my parents were very influential.
Yeah, of course.
And also in not being afraid to try new things. It goes back to the risk tolerance thing, Don't be afraid to try. And my dad would never say, "Oh no, you're a girl. Leave that to your brothers." No. I would be right in there with my brothers, and so they instilled in me a great work ethic. Seeing them own businesses, kind of put the bug in me as well.
Yeah.
And so I think I just have an internal striving for excellence also. So.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think that's really a common bond or a common thread amongst most of the entrepreneurs that I meet is that they just are so internally driven. They're so internally motivated. I feel that there's almost no external factor that can make you do anything.
Right.
So perhaps it is just that's the real common bond amongst people who have the guts essentially to run a business.
Yeah. It's not for the faint of heart.
No. Mm-mm. What are some of those not for faint of heart things that you feel like you've learned?
Some of the hardest things I've had to do involve people, right? It's never easy to fire someone.
Yeah.
It's never easy to say this isn't the right fit. But I mean, that's just one example, right, of the hard things that we do as business owners. It never ends. Owning a business means you don't just go home and forget about it. You're on 24/7, whether it's an issue with the building, the roof is leaking or whatever it is, it's on your shoulders. But I think those hard things are what makes us who we are. I always think about the analogy to a refiner's fire. If somebody's pounding metal and heating it up and shaping it, essentially, in the end, it makes it harder metal, and it's shaped into the tool that you want it to be. Those kinds of hardships that you go through makes us exactly who we are and who we're meant to be.
Yeah, that's right. But I find the parents to be interesting because, I put my kids through daycare, which is sort of it's a sister to a day program,
Sure.
right? Which is just the devouring mother at the front desk of a toddler's preschool or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think about, having to balance those dynamics between the parents and then the friends. And the friends are having fun all day. They're really getting well served. And when the parents come around, it's like, oh, the beast is back. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting dynamic because there are some parents who have had their adult child in other day programs. And so they see the contrast.
Right.
And they're
thrilled.
They cannot be more thankful.
That's right.
For
Yes.
ABC, right? And then there are parents who don't really know yet, and I don't know if they ever will know what they have in ABC because this is the first place that they looked at, maybe, right? And they got in to ABC.
You spoil them early.
Yeah.
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 I think that's true of every business. I mean, if you have a good real estate experience, and then you have a lousy real estate experience, you could be more thankful for the good real estate experience. If you have a good experience at ABC,
exactly,
and they go to a lousy program,
right,
they'll often come back. Sometimes people have to learn those lessons on their own.
Absolutely, yep. That's a good comparison. Yeah. So that's kind of a complex part of our particular business is that, not only are we serving our friends, but we're also serving their parents.
I'm curious just from maybe an outsider's point of view or outside perspective, I often wonder how people who really do need full-time care, what infrastructures do we have in place as a society for making sure they're cared for late in life? Particularly, I've seen friends who are in their 50s, maybe a Downs individual who's in their 50s.
With Down syndrome.
Whose parents are in their 80s.
Yes. That is one of the, and if Robin were here to tell you, she would be able to tell you as a parent, it's one of the biggest unknowns, and something that they worry about the most is what's going to happen to my son when I'm gone, and I mentioned to you residential funding, and at our company, at ABC, we believe in a whole person philosophy when it comes to our friends. We prefer to, if they do have those residential funds, we prefer to be their residential agency in addition to their day program. Because if a situation like that were to arise where the parents passed away, something happened to them, they became incapacitated, they couldn't care for them anymore, they would have the assurance that we know their son or daughter, right? And their plan and their desires for their son or daughter.
Yeah.
And whereas, there are some really big agencies out there that, something happened, they don't have a caregiver. Well, or there's a host home open right here.
The checks quit coming, you're out, right? Or whatever.
Yeah. Or there's an opening in this group home. We'll just put them, that works out well. They'll go there. Whereas the parents would know that we would really take into consideration their desires. As you mentioned, their plans for their children.
Yeah, most of these parents typically set up like special needs trusts.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, that's a common thing in your industry. People typically have some planning. It's important to actually really plan.
You never know what's going to happen to Medicaid funding, the waivers. I think they'll always be there and that they'll be well funded. However, most parents, you're right, they have some sort of special needs trust that is funded through their life insurance or something of the sort, so that when they're gone, there's an influx of funding so that they're sure to take care of their adult child.
Yeah, and I think then the burden sometimes falls onto siblings. They know that eventually maybe their brother or sister will be, under their care.
Yeah. Some siblings aren't up for that either, though.
Sure.
And or there are some families who don't have any siblings.
Yeah, that's right.
There's several of our friends who, the parents are relying on us as an agency to make sure their adult child is cared for in the environment that they're used to, in a manner that they expect.
What would that look like? They would go to like DDRC has living housing.
Yeah, it could be. Let's say that they might have a friend, or like you said, a sibling, or potentially a host home provider, But there'll be a lot more screening and individualized care, I guess.
Yeah.
In that situation. So, those funds would then be used to pay someone to be their new caregiver.
Fascinating. It's funny just talking to you. It's like I feel like my brain races on 10 other businesses that one could have to surround your single business, right? Do you find that those opportunities sort of, they show themselves?
They do. In fact,
how do you keep from being squirrely?
Well, it does tend to happen. Look at the escape room business. But we recently started a publishing business, Robin and I did, to promote our message that we want the world to know about the friends that we serve.
Yeah.
That they're amazing, that they're valuable, that the world should get to know them.
Yes.
Because they'll be better off for it.
And you're writing books.
Yeah. So we're writing books, but we're also, we published a second edition of Robin and Margaret's resource book on the dual diagnosis of Down syndrome and autism.
Okay.
It's a very unique diagnosis, and so that was published to our company.
That comes your way occasionally, where you have somebody with Down syndrome who is also autistic.
Absolutely, yes. Okay. Absolutely. Probably 20% of people who have Down syndrome
are also on the autism spectrum.
On the autism spectrum, yeah. It's a very, very important resource book for parents because they don't really feel like they and their child fit into the Down syndrome world because their child is very different from just a typical person with Down syndrome.
Yep.
But they also don't fit into the autism community, you know?
Sure.
And so Robin started a nonprofit back in, I think it was 2009-ish or somewhere around there, probably getting it wrong, but called the Down Syndrome Autism Connection because she had a daughter with the dual diagnosis who has since passed away.
Yes.
And now there is a global Facebook support group for that community. They speak at conferences, et cetera. And it's such a valuable resource for those parents who find support nowhere else.
That's right. So niche, so lonesome.
Yes.
And so I know you guys were doing some of that. Weren't you writing a children's book too?
I did write a children's book.
Okay, yeah.
And also Robin and I both have come up with several, and we will continue to do so, adult focused coloring books specifically related to Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. Our next one will be autism.
Great.
So people can, our friends love to color and
yeah.
But so the theme is, here's Tommy who has Down syndrome. Look at how amazing his life is.
And he is amazing.
And he is. He's incredible.
Yeah.
And so he has his own coloring book of a story of his life. But the message is, hey, new parent, you could give this in like a welcome packet to someone who just received the diagnosis for their new baby or something like that.
Sure.
Look at how amazing. Look at the future that
your baby can have.
That you're facing. Yeah, that your baby can have, and that it's not maybe the gloom and doom that you're afraid it might be.
Oh, of course.
It's incredible. It's your life's. You have so many wonderful things to look forward to.
Well, Robin is by far and away, and I put you in this bucket too, but she is an incredible person. And
absolutely.
I think that probably in light of the children she raised.
Yeah.
She just is really incredible, unbelievably bright, beautiful, empathetic, smart, focused. She's very fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So, you guys have done an unbelievable thing with this day program. It's been really fun to watch, to be a friend, to have come alongside you to support your business. You've been a good friend to me and have supported my business. And so
yes,
I'm so glad you came to share a little and to just enlighten people about this thing that I have a passion for that is shared between us. And there's one other thing that's shared between us, and that's that we both like to win at game playing.
Yes, that's true.
Yes,
we have a little competitive streak.
We should totally do that again. Okay. I love it.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Leah Martin with A Brighter Community, and thanks for sharing.